All right, everybody, welcome. For those of you expecting an arm wrestling video, read the title. It's not going to be one. I want to welcome everybody here. I see that there's a Woody UK is here. I appreciate you being here. I want to talk. I want to talk about moving forward. I want to talk about unity, what it looks like, what actual unity looks like. I want to talk about, can we move forward from here? What does it look like? But in order to do that, I feel like I also need to kind of introduce some of the past and some of the things that have happened to me, so you can kind of get an idea of where my thought processes and ideologies and stuff like that come from. So before I did just arm wrestling and before I found the sport of arm wrestling, I was very heavily involved in political rallies and speaking. And I did shows. I did 3 shows a week, actually, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with my wife. And that's where the Unapologetic Patriot came from. We had a page called TC Media, the whole nine, right? And we were very, very active, especially up north, because a lot of the people that we knew were up north. And I will tell you this, Kenneth is here. How you doing, buddy? I will tell you this. I really was ignorant back then to everything that I was going to be, that my eyes were going to be open to shortly. So I remember there was something going on UNC. It was the Silent Sam protest. And I said, well, I want to go there as media. And back then, Unapologetic Patriot, I had the American flag skull cap, and that was kind of my thing, right? Everybody knew me by that. So I went like that. My wife and I both had, Unapologetic American shirts. So, we had American regalia, right? And it was basically a protest for and against the removal of the Silent Sam statue in UNC. And all I wanted to do was cover it like a news station would. When I got there, my first wake-up call to what we were actually experiencing was when the police turned around and said, I need to put you in with the protesters that are against the removal of the statue. And I said, okay, well, why? They're all Confederates. It's not that I have anything against the Confederate flag, but I'm not necessarily for it either. And they said, well, you're wearing American flags, so therefore we can't protect you. And I said, we're on American soil. What are you talking? Like ignorance, complete ignorance. I had no idea what was going on. And, so yeah, they had to put us in with the Confederates, and that's fine. I turned a situation like that into, I interviewed a bunch of Confederates, the people that were there with Confederate flags, etc. And it should be no shock to any of you that none of them were racist. None of them. And I mean, I asked them all kinds of personal questions. None of them were hateful. They saw the Confederate flag as pride, not hate, heritage, not hate. But anyway, I'm not here to defend any of that. But what my eyes were opened to was that night I saw the other side. I got to meet Antifa. I got to meet Black Lives Matter. I got to meet all of them. And by meet, I mean they spit on us. They yelled at us. They hated me just for being there and wearing American flags and such, like that. Didn't matter what my story was. It didn't matter who I was. It didn't matter what I was actually there for. I was not them. So therefore I was the enemy. And it was an eye-opening experience. I'll never forget, I'm a pretty tough dude. I was scared that night when we were leaving. They surrounded us, and the police had their bicycles, and they made a wall with their bicycles, and these people were kicking the bikes, and the pedals and such like that were cutting the police officer's shins. and they were collapsing in behind us and trying to kill us. And it was pretty gnarly. And this is over a statue. That was the first day I got woken up to it. Just how hateful everything can be. Fast forward a little bit, I got more active, and I did some speaking in Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'll make this quick, but things started getting to the point where I was doxxed. And for those of you who don't know what doxing is they put out your address to millions, as many people as they possibly can. And basically it's, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi, you're a racist, you're this. They don't know me. They don't know anything about me. They don't know that one of my best friends is black. They don't know that he also is a conservative. They don't care. They just need to silence you no matter what. I was targeted for a hit. They were going to come to my kids' schools. They were going to burn down my house. They were going to murder my children and my wife. This is all from them, not from me. This is what they said. This was the Philadelphia chapter of Antifa. They went by 3 hours down, gritty, and all that shit. One of the members there was a violence coordinator. I'm not going to go into his name and all that, but I found out that he turned state's evidence and he ratted on his entire old crew. That's why he got out of prison. So instead of silencing me, they made me louder, and I called him out by name. This is when I made it to their hit list. They had a top 10 people that they wanted to kill, and I made it to number 4. I got to see their little manifesto and all of that jazz, and I made it to number 4. And then I found out that my wife was pregnant, which we had no clue that could even happen, because she, for 16 years she had her tubes tied, and then we got told that she was pregnant. So we had a lot of hard choices, a lot of hard, hairy choices to make, because it was now we're talking about an infant coming into the house. We're talking about my wife's safety, my baby's safety, this, that, and the other thing. And we made the very difficult decision to back away. We made the very difficult decision to back away from all the politics and all of the the basically putting your opinion out there and being heard, being a voice. I tell you all of this to tell you to basically bring you up to what's going on now, right? You have a young lady in a subway. I believe her name was Irina, Ukrainian. And no, I don't care that she had Black Lives Matter in her bedroom or anything like that. I don't give a shit what she was as far as a liberal or a conservative. I care that she was somebody that fled a war because it was dangerous, came to the United States, which is supposed to be the freest country, the shining city on the hill, as Ronald Reagan once said. And she got her throat slit on a subway by a racist, by a hateful son of a bitch that had been let out of jail something to the tune of 13 times by liberal prosecutors and liberal judges and liberal DAs and all of that shit. And then the worst part is as a society, they watched her die. She died alone and scared, not knowing what was going to happen. I couldn't even imagine. I really couldn't. We have 2 school shootings in the last month, including on the same day that Charlie Kirk got shot. And I'm getting to that too. You can't ever tell me that shooting kids is something that isn't horrific and isn't something that should be, absolutely railed against on every fiber from everybody. But of course the reaction is very, very telltale, right? From the right, it's, oh, well, they're going to go after the guns again. It's not guns, it's the people. From the left, it's the guns. If we had access to less guns, we wouldn't have this problem. The facts of that argument are this. we have grown as a society to not only foster but celebrate insanity. We have grown as a society to not only foster but celebrate mental illnesses. Um, and this is the leading cause of these shootings. These are the leading causes of all of this violence. Um, Charlie Kirk got shot, and what really sets him apart from just about everybody else. Obviously, you know, children are horrific for being shot and for being killed. But, you know, obviously Charlie Kirk has moved millions across the world right now. And what really sets him apart is this. That man never called for violence a day in his life. That man is a far better man than me because I've called for violence before. I've thought about it since he got shot. I'm a very imperfect Christian. That man was incredible. He never called for violence once. He would not only invite dissenting opinions or disagreeing opinions. He would say, "Get to the front of the line. I want to talk to you more than I want to talk to anybody else. I want to talk to you." And he would debate. And if I was half the debater that he is or was, I'd be incredible. I'm pretty good. I'm nowhere near him. That man would never shy away from any conversation. He had very sharp wit, very, very sharp wit, and he was incredibly knowledgeable about many different things. He was a warrior of his faith, and he was a warrior for the conservative movement. And again, you don't have to agree with him. You don't. But what should appall literally everyone is the fact that he never once called for violence. He never once condoned violence. He only ever wanted to have civil discourse, to talk about ideas, to talk about, conflicting ideas, people that disagreed with him, people that disagreed with all of us. And that's all he ever wanted to do was talk. That's it. And he did it very effectively. And they shot him for that. And they killed him for that. He was a warrior. He was a courageous man. The coward who took the shot from the rooftop was a pussy. And he ran. There's a huge difference there between the warrior that became a martyr and the coward that's now got to face the justice system. And, you know, we see people celebrating. And yeah, that's appalling. And yeah, it's disgusting and it turns my stomach. But they're allowed to do that. And they should be invited to do that. They should be invited to do it in a public square so that we can all have a conversation about it. Now, again, I'm an imperfect man. So where I draw the line is, you know, if you are disrupting a peaceful vigil or if your actions somehow cause harm, I'm kind of done being the guy that says conservatives should be the ones who rise above it, be the ones that, you know, basically, well, that's the way they act. We shouldn't act that way. No. I'm not saying go out looking for it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying go out and start anything, but for me, it's back to high school rules that my dad used to set up for all of us, which was don't ever start a fight, but you better damn well finish it. And that's kind of where I'm at. I've leaned a lot more personally into my faith, and I'm not even that much of a religious person. For those of you that know me know that I believe in God. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not a churchgoer. I'm not somebody that routinely prays, that quotes the Bible very often. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't, for whatever reason. It's my reasons, right? Maybe I don't fully know my reasons, but they're my reasons. But I've leaned very heavily into why. Why did it happen to Charlie? And then not only that, but, because he was one of God's best. But then, why does it hurt so bad? I never met the man. I don't know the man. I follow him, sure. Have I followed every single thing he ever done? No. But, I follow him. Why does it hurt so bad? And I saw somebody that definitely is a lot more religious than me, but it makes sense. It's because he was anointed. He was a chosen one. And when a chosen one gets taken away and the weight of a martyr is bestowed upon him, we all feel it. I mean, I've seen movements in Britain, Australia, South Korea, obviously America, Canada, all over the globe for Charlie. His Instagram account has gone from 1.6 or something like that to 10.8 million followers. There's 32,000 new requests for charters in schools for TPUSA. You didn't silence him. You only made him stronger and exponentially stronger. Antifa has always been a domestic terrorist organization. Black Lives Matter is a domestic terrorist organization. How can I say that with a straight face, you may ask? Well, it's very simple. The definition of terrorism is to, I want to get this right, is to somehow inflict harm or fear in someone or something based on political beliefs. Well, that's exactly what Antifa does, and that's exactly what Black Lives Matter has done, will do. They inflict fear and terror in people and organizations to achieve a political purpose. And for years, I remember Antifa saying that they are not tied to the Democrats or the Republicans or anything like that, yet all of their funding comes from Democrats. All of their funding comes from Democrats. Black Lives Matter, the same thing. So how can they not be tied to Democrats, right? Now, am I saying that all Democrats are bad people? No. Although I would call on all of you Democrats, just the average voters, the average Democrat voter, let your voices be heard. And a lot of you have, and I give you props for that. I give you respect for that. But all of you should. And this is where the unity part comes in. The way I see unity going forward is this. We, the people, hold everyone accountable. All of our representatives, whether they be local, state, regional, or nationwide, we hold them all accountable. And they all need to stand against political violence in any way, shape, or form. Not only that, but the Democrats especially need to stop with the all Republicans are Nazis and Hitler and all of this bullshit. The mainstream media needs to be held accountable for doing the same thing. You cannot get away with calling one group of people and one group of people only, or any group of people, I should say, Nazis, Hitler, racist, fascist, this, that, and the other thing. Because again, it doesn't matter that the fact of the matter is that fascists are the ones that try to silence by any means necessary, up to and including shooting someone in their throat in front of their wife and kids. It doesn't matter that the fact of the matter is that fascists are the ones that use violence to silence people. It doesn't matter that the facts of the matter are that a president from your party said, if they bring a knife, we bring a gun. I want you to get in their face and shout them down. It doesn't matter that a representative from your party turned around and said that we need to go to where they eat, where they assemble, and we need to get in their faces. It doesn't matter, because those are the facts, and the facts only serve to enrage the fascists. The fascists are the ones that will silence anyone by any means. Now, I've seen some people criticize the people getting fired. By the way, there's been over 1,000 people fired since Charlie Kirk was assassinated because of celebrations or some sort of comment. And people are saying, what happened to freedom of speech? This is what I mean when I hear when I say that uneducated people this is where the internet is very dangerous, right? Because a bunch of uneducated people get to talk to other uneducated people as if they are somehow scholars. Freedom of speech only protects you from government censorship. That's it. It is we the people's right to have freedom of speech against our own government. It protects us from our government. It does not protect you from another citizen. It does not protect you from your employer. It does not protect you from any of those things. It only protects you from your government. That is what the Constitution protects you from, your government, because it is your government. Of, by, and for the people. Remember, that's what the government is. Of, by, and for the people. That's where all of our rights are enshrined, is against our government. It has nothing to do with civilian versus civilian or civilian versus their employer or anything like that. Excuse me, my sinuses. So all of these people getting fired, good. I'm glad that employers are standing behind principles and honor and doing what they have to do and hurting these people without actually being violent to these people. There are consequences for your actions. There are consequences for your words. If I were to sit up here tonight and call for violence or worse, there would be consequences for my actions. Just like anyone who plots against the president gets a visit from the Secret Service. There are consequences for your actions. We need to start being the people, and I'm talking about all people. I don't care so much if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I really don't give a shit about the parties. If you think that either party actually cares about you, you're sadly mistaken. Okay. I really don't. Now, am I a conservative? Yes. That does not mean I'm a Republican. Does it mean that I mostly vote Republican? Yes. Why? I'll tell you why. It's because voting Republican for me at least gives me time to try to save the country. Whereas Democrats right now seem to be hell-bent on racing us off of a cliff as fast as we possibly can. And their policies right now are just anything anti-Trump. So I don't even know what they stand for. I know that they want to murder babies up to and including at the time of birth. They want to force feed all of us. They want to force feed all of us, all of this gender bullshit with 77 genders and all of this. And it doesn't matter that, again, the facts and the irony of what they say spit right back in their face. It doesn't matter. Like, let me tell you this, since abortion seems to be such a hot topic. Okay. Democrats want to murder fetuses, babies, all the way up until, the time of birth. Okay. Some more radical than others. And they enshrine that in women's rights, but they are the same people that empower men to use women's bathrooms and take away your right to your own bathroom. They are the same party that empower men to compete in your sports and take away all of your records and medals. They don't care about women's rights. They just care about the next victim mentality to get them voters. Okay, that's all it is. That's all it is. And if we do not stop as a society with the catering and celebrating of mental illness and insanity, we will get more of this. It'll get worse. I promise you it'll get worse. Because that's the way it has to. All great empires get destroyed this way. And if we don't see the writing on the wall right now and reverse course right now, we are doomed to repeat it. And we will go down. This country will fail. Make no mistake about it. Unless we make a stand. Now, I've seen some people on the internet, some people that are friends. I haven't been on Facebook in a few days. I have Facebook up right now. I kind of checked in today with a few people. I've had people reach out to me. I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, I've had some say, "Oh, I'm not gonna state my opinion anymore because all it does is cause divide." And then I saw somebody echo that. You convince 0% of the population and you piss off at least 50%. Sure, everybody could just shut up. Everybody could just be quiet, and then they win. The lunatics win. The people who want political violence win. The people who want this country to fail win. If our founding fathers had the same exact thought as, this is just too tough, we should just pack it in. We're all rich. We can live happy lives for the rest of our lives. We wouldn't have this great country. We'd still have a king. Freedom is not free. Freedom is not easy. So my thing is we all need to fight for it. Fighting can look a lot of different ways. Fighting can look like what the left does. Fighting can look like what I'm doing right now. Fighting can look writing letters to your congressmen and your senators. Fighting can look just by you voting every single chance that you get in state and local and national elections. But what I want to see as far as fighting from here on out is, as far as me personally, is, yeah, we want those hard debates. We want to debate our viewpoints. Find out what your viewpoints are. Search your own soul. What are you? Like, how do you believe? Do you believe in abortion? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in political violence is a necessity or not? Do you believe in democracy? Do you believe in capitalism? Do you believe in socialism? Do you believe in communism? What do you believe in? And when you find out what your beliefs are, believe them. Get educated on them. And go forth and spread them. And get into the hard debates, because the only way that you actually solidify your beliefs is to actually debate them. Because that educates you and it makes you stronger, or it convinces you that you might have been wrong in one of your beliefs or several of your beliefs. Facts are the only things that should matter. I've seen some people say that, if you look at ChatGPT and all of the rest of them, that, it'll tell you that right-wingers are the ones that are causing all of the violence and the mass shootings and all of this. To me, that is part of the problem. It's a twofold problem. One, ChatGPT, Gronk, and all the rest of them are only as good as the internet that they're pulling the information from. We know for at least a decade now that the internet has been spun to basically be leftist. There really are not very many, if any, conservative sites out there, or what I would consider factual sites out there. There are a whole bunch of left-leaning, garbage out there. We see it in our education system. We see it in Hollywood. We see it in Wikipedia. We see it in all kinds of stuff, because the left has been the mobile ones. The left has been the ones that have been mobilized. They are the ones that have the loudest voice. They are the ones that take the fight to our information centers. And they have been winning the culture war. If we do not start understanding that we are at war when it comes to this type of stuff, and information war especially, we will lose. Because these AIs are pulling from these knowledge centers, the internet, right? And it's all left-leaning. So what are they going to do? They're going to spew the same rhetoric, the same bullshit that the mainstream media does. And I can't even blame the mainstream media totally, because they are in their own echo chamber and they are indoctrinated and brainwashed in their own bullshit. So it's hard. But the facts of the matter is that Stephen Scalise, Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, a bunch of kids, a bunch of churchgoers would all have something to say about right-wingers being the murderers, considering they were all murdered by left-leaning trans activists, Antifa, all kinds of stuff. But all left-leaning. The violence, for the most part, yes, sure, we have our lunatics on the right, and there shouldn't be any, and I hate the fact that we do have any. But predominantly, the violence is coming from the left. These are truths. I heard it said today that the only way to true unity was from JD Vance, actually. The only way to true unity is to climb the mountain of truth. If we do not seek truth and preach truth in all of our facets of life, we will never have unity. Unity has to be based off of truth. It can't be based off of rhetoric. It can't be based off of propaganda. It can't be based off of anything like that. It can't be based off of hate. It has to be based off of truth and facts. Unfortunately, both of those things are in short supply these days because, again, the left has won, for the most part, the culture war, and we have sat back and watched it happen. It is our turn to fight. It is our turn to start taking back our country, our knowledge centers, our children's futures, our religious centers. It is time for us to do these things. I've said this before when I was politically active, and I'll say it again. It is our responsibility to maintain this country. It is our responsibility to take this country to the next level. You know, we keep hearing slogans like "Make America Great Again" and "Make America this" and "Make America that." Well, without we the people, that doesn't happen. You can't look to one guy being Donald Trump or one administration being his administration and think that you're going to be saved, or even God. Okay, it's not, God is not going to fight our battles for us. God will welcome us home when it is our time, if we are truly repentant and find salvation through him. But he will not fight our battles for us. It is our responsibility. So if your kids mean something to you, if your grandkids mean something to you, if your brothers and sisters mean something to you, then you have to fight. Charlie Kirk got assassinated in front of his family. When the bullet ripped through his throat, the gunshot that went off, his daughter ran towards him, not because she knew he was shot. She had no idea that he was shot. She ran towards him because her daddy is her safety. And he was dead. He was murdered right next to her, in front of his wife and his kids. And there's sick people out there calling for them to die too. There's disgusting people out there that shout down JD Vance's kids. There's disgusting people out there that have threatened my kids and my wife because I don't believe their political bullshit. I don't know how my future is going to be shaped as far as the political realm goes, but my time of being in the backseat is done. I've talked it over with my wife, and we understand that there's risks involved, and we understand the risks that are there. And we have decided that if Charlie Kirk could literally, with his last breath, be a champion for his ideals, his morals, his ideology, and his faith, then what's our excuse? There is none. I ask you all, what's your excuse? And to you, I would tell you, there is none. The man sacrificed everything, just like our forefathers did, to bring forth his faith, to bring forth ideals, to bring forth civil debate. And he was murdered for it. I'm tired of seeing kids killed. I'm tired of seeing violence, needless violence, like women being killed on subways, their throats slit. And I'm tired of seeing good people killed, especially in front of their families. I'm tired of one side perpetrating all of the violence, and I'm tired of sitting back and doing nothing. So going forward, I will be involved. I just don't know how. I don't know to what degree. It will definitely be a greater degree than what I am now. But I think all of us need to turn around and say these words and mean it, because he has woken up. His murder has woken up the sleeping giant. And as cliche and corny as it might sound, we all need to say it. I am Charlie Kirk. God bless everyone.